So, Nam aloha, everybody. So, this is a reading on Russel Brand as per suggested by you in my poll. So, I just want to say that this is not about guilty or not guilty. I'm not really taking sides here, but he is a public figure. So, it would behoove us to look at if he's being his authentic self or not. So this is Russell Brand. And human design is based on the human design system and Western astrology. So if you're not familiar with human design, it is astrology on steroids. It's so specific, right? So this is really about being your authentic self. And it's a science of differentiation, and it really pinpoints your uniqueness, right? So, for instance, your sun may be in Gemini here, but then it falls into a hexagram, right? So, if you're Gemini, you've got about six possibilities, right? So, and really, this time that we're entering into the cross of the sleeping phoenix is a whole new global 400-year cycle that starts in 2027, and we have to be our authentic selves, back to our original self, to navigate through these times of great change. And this is why we're seeing so much change on the planet. It's because it's a reflection of what's going on in our consciousness. We're evolving as a species. Okay, so this is the mandala, right? So you can see there's 64 gates or hexagrams that go around the mandala. So each planet moves around the mandala. And then this correlates to the chart. You can see the chart in here, right? Right here. So you can get your free chart at jovianarchive.com. I always put it in my information box, and then you can follow along, subscribe to my channel, and you'll learn a lot about yourself, because maybe you've got some of these gates activated and channels activated that I'm going to be talking about, right? So you can see that these centers, this is a 9-centered being. It's based on the chakra system, the Kabbalah, right? The tree of life. So when a gate matches up with another gate, like this 11 matches up with the 56, then that makes a channel, okay? So I don't want to go too much deep into this, because it will just be a human design intro, but we want to focus on Mr. Brand, okay? So Russell Brand, this is Russell Brand's chart, right? And then we want to look at his type. So this is the aura type. So there's basically 5 auras. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. But he's what's called a manifesting generator. So this is 70% of the world. So 70% of the world, 35% are manifesting generators, 35 are generators. So he has an open and enveloping aura, and he's here to respond to life with a yes or no from his sacral. And if he's not operating correctly, meaning he's not being himself, then he's going to feel frustrated and angry. And when he's feeling he's operate like things are flowing now for him in the Maya, then he will feel fulfilled and satisfied. Okay, so these are the other types. So you can find all that out when you get your free chart. So right away, we go to his chart. Let's see what's motivating him. What gets him out of bed in the morning? So it's different for each person, right? What gets him out of the bed in the morning? Well, he's what's called a follower. He's a follower. So you go back and forth. This is what's called third color. So you go back and forth, leader, follower, but he's fixed follower, it's called. So what is he here? What motivates him? What gets him out of bed in the morning? What can he escape as much as he tries? Well, to motivate people to learn and become more self-aware, motivate people to learn about themselves, right? Who they really are and their power. And action is focused on one single force, right? As a leader follower, drawn to change the world. And leadership drives his thoughts, like how to organize things, how to organize people on the material, right? I believe he has a festival, right? He has a festival to motivate people to clear their conditioned mind, the brainwashing and the propaganda, right? Empower people with prosperity to take care of themselves so that they can lead themselves, right? So be free is one of his mantras, be free. And then the follower is following others, people he respects, like leaders that he respects, only to learn to lead oneself. So you're learning to lead yourself by following others. Okay. And then he would see a world of leaders and followers. Not everybody is designed to be a leader. Not everybody on the planet is designed to be a leader. That's a false teaching, right? That we're genetically programmed to follow, right? Correct leaders, but we've been following shadow leaders because of the low frequency on the planet. Or we're genetically designed to be leaders, right? Leaders are followers. So we can see this out in the world. And there's nothing wrong with being a follower. It's following to lead and then leading followers. Okay, but he's more fixed on the follower side. Okay, so that's his motivation. But let's look at his chart close up. So you see these arrows, and I've got recorded readings. I don't really mention this with readings, like my one-on-ones, but this is really of note. You see these arrows, right? These arrows. So there's 16 combinations of these that you can have. Sometimes you'll have this one going that way, and right, this one that way, that one this way. So 16 different permutations and combinations of this. So this describes how his awareness works, his awareness system works. Well, and he's all right. So his design side, this is his unconscious, is all right. His personality side, what he's conscious of, is all right. So we're evolving. Remember, I told you we're evolving as a species, and we're evolving as all left, right? So what is all left? That's focused and strategic, and it's logical, and it's using your brain, right? It's very masculine. And now we're evolving. This is what we're going to end up as a species, is all right. So he's receptive. He's like he's not only taking in information from people, or if he's studying with somebody, or he's reading something, he's in someone's aura. He's probably not even aware of this, but he's taking in frequencies, all these different frequencies, right? And he's receptive. He's like a sponge. If he's being himself, and if he's present, right? Present in the now moment, he's going to take in all these frequencies, right? And so what happens is he ends up being this deep, deep well. He's like a deep, deep well. And then he has no access to this well, right? He has no access whatever to this well. But it's the people in front of him that pull this wisdom out of him, whatever he's taken in. And sometimes he'll be surprised by what comes out of his mouth, and it will be exactly what that person needs. So when the internet goes down, right? When the internet goes down and we don't have access to the internet anymore, then these all right people like Russel Brand will be a huge resource. Like the resources will be the people. And I have 3 parts right and 1 part left. So I have some access to my well, right? So he has to be present. And so if he needs to learn something, he needs to be present. So if you're a mother or father or someone in school right now and you're all right, all you have to do is just sit in the class. Don't be taking notes. Just sit and be present with the material and trust that it will go in and it will come out as necessary, right? So this is why he probably loves stand-up comedy, right? When he's in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, because they're going to pull this out of him. They're going to pull this out of him, this stuff out of him. If he's just at his podcast, I'm sure he's got his team, but it's not going to be the same as being in a huge audience, right? Okay, so he's all right, receptive. So if you can see here, he's called what's called a 2-4 profile, right? So you've got 35.2, right? 63.4, 64.4, and then 5.2. So that makes him a 2-4 profile. So this means he's a hermit opportunist. So what does this mean? It means he needs to be called out. He's called out. He's just doing his thing. So he's very talented. He's got natural talents that he didn't really have to work for. Right. And he's just doing his thing. And then somebody comes along and says, hey, Russell, you should go down and do go to that comedy show, that open mic. Right. You'd be really good at that. You're really, really funny. And then he goes and he gets on fire. Right. He does it. And then he's called out. Right. He's called out. So this is like the addict, the person that's addicted to drugs and alcohol. They kick it, right? They heal it, and then they become zealots about it, right? This is the 2-4. And then the fourth line here over on the unconscious that he's unconscious of this is the friend line. This is the influencer. The fourth lines are very, very influential, and they're friendly. So people are drawn to him, right? Drawn to him. So he can be the hermit at home, not wanting to see people, because the second line needs alone time just to do their own thing, to be in their own flow. But then the fourth unconscious is going to attract people like banging on his door. Russell, come on out. What are you up to? Right? That's the fourth line. But it can be highly influential to his network. Whoever his network is, he's highly influential. And the friends around him. Yeah. So there's that. And then let's talk about the cross of consciousness here. The cross of consciousness. So that's his incarnation cross, it's called. So this is the trajectory he's on. So what's this about? So he's here to balance the energies of the desire to have experiences. This is really big in his chart, and to be done with it. So his motto is like, been there, done that. So as the situations arise, right, and he had his experience, he's had that experience, then he doesn't need to do it over and over again. So that's what he's learning with the cross of consciousness. So this is part of his mission, right, on the planet in this incarnation, is to help the collective not repeat these experiences over and over and over again. So he'd be really into history, I bet, the history of humanity, and not repeating the same lessons over and over again, the experiences, right? And then also helps the collective look at what we haven't mastered yet. Oh, well, we haven't mastered prosperity for everybody on the planet, right? We haven't mastered that yet. That's a big one. The health for the planet. We haven't mastered that yet. Like just things like that I'm throwing off at the top of my head. Okay, so that's part of his trajectory that he's on. And he's accumulating, we'll go into that, like he's accumulating experiences, many, many experiences, to share that wisdom. So let's go into the channels next here. Okay. So I talked about these channels. So he's got the 3420 channel. He's got the 3635. He's got the 2145. And then he's got the 1156. So this gives definition to these centers here. So this is it's called a channel of transitoriness, and it's about his life is rich, full of experiences that he's already had, right? But it fails. So his life is rich in experiences, but it can fail if you've got this channel yourself too. You're going to relate to this, that you'll feel this failure of not meeting your expectations of each experience, right? And this is coming from the mind or from other people on the outside. So the deepest talent, because this comes with talent, the 3635, is adventure. And the wisdom that he's here to share with this channel, with the collective, is that nothing lasts forever. So he's driven. Do you see this? This is the solar plexus. This is what's going through a mutation right now. That's our emotions. So he's emotionally driven. Look, 36. to get to the 35. So he's emotionally driven to seek new experiences in life, and he's gathering wisdom through these experiences. So his personal, what he has to do is he has to wait until this wave, right? Because this is a solar plexus, so it goes through wave. It's like hope and pain, hope and pain. It's the motor of the wave. So he's got to wait until his wave is clear before he goes into these new experiences, and he can pay the price in his personal life, which he's doing right now, right? To understanding how this worked. His past has caught up with him, his past. And it's interesting too that his Chiron, he's going through a Chiron return in the 4th house. So old stuff from childhood's coming up for him, like old pain, right, from his early family life. So he's got to know how he operates, and he's got to know about this wave, this emotional wave. He's a very emotional person. So as he ages, he gets more and more creative as he shares these experiences that he's accumulated, for good or bad, right? For good or bad. So he can be a wonderful storyteller with the 36-35 because he's had so many fascinating experiences in his life. And this is also a very sexual channel. This one, 35-36, is a very sexual channel. And so the sex here with the emotional pressure to have a new experience, it's about having an experience. It's not really about the person. It's about, I want to have this sexual experience. So if he's not operating correctly, and he's not waiting for that wave, that emotional wave, to be clear, because it goes up and down, right? The emotional wave, but then it comes to a point of clarity, right? There's like a little gap in its clarity, and that's when you enter with response, because he's a manifesting generator, with a yes or no. So if he's not operating correctly and he doesn't know how this works, then he ends up repeating the same experiences over and over and over, and he's not designed for that. So that would be the addiction, right? The addiction. So the secret for him is to surrender all expectations when he enters an experience correctly, right? No attachment. He's detached, and he just surrenders to the experience. So, but he has to wait to be emotionally clear for this. And also, it's a manifestor channel. This one's a manifestor channel. So that means he can get quite volatile with this channel, the potential to get quite volatile when he's not operating correctly, if the experience turns out to be something that he didn't expect, right? So he's here to sample different things in order to learn and grow, right? He's here to sample lots of things, the buffet of life, and grow through profound emotional experiences, right? For that channel. So then let's go to the next one, which is third. Which one do we want to do? The 21-45. Let's do that one. So that's his willpower center. That's the throat chakra. So he's got the 45 hooking up with the 21. And this is the money channel. Everybody in human design wants the money channel. So this is the design of a materialist. And this is the material plane. Like, he can't be up in the head, up in the clouds, right? With the unicorns and rainbows. He's got to be right there. Boots on the ground. He's got to be in the material world with this 21-45. So he's here to make money with this 21-45 through the power of his will. And that's the will, why his own power of his will. So he's here to be the boss, and he's here to be in control. And the only way he can become materially successful is by doing things himself. Like, he's got to be the one at the helm of the ship, basically, right? So he's a one-man show, and he doesn't work well with others, and he probably likes doing things himself, right? So with this channel, he can't be changed, right? He can't be changed. And when he talks, he's naturally going to talk about himself, right? But people are going to enjoy that because he's got the 36-35 and he's got the 11-56, which I'll talk about later. right? So if he's not operating correctly, if he's not being his authentic self, then he's going to meet a lot of criticism from others and anger too in others for Russell. And then let's look at this, the 3420. So what's really interesting about the 3420 is it's part of this new global cycle that starts in 2027 and goes until 2438. Okay. So there's two channels that are going to be they're like keynotes for this global cycle. This is the new frequency that will be on the planet. And this is what's going to motivate people. So the phoenix is going to start to rise, right? The phoenix is going to start to rise from the flames. And he's got one part of it. Okay. And maybe you do too. Check your chart out. And this is the 3420, right? The other one is 55, the other gates, 59, 55. They're going through a mutation, but he doesn't have those, but he's got this, the 3420. So this is the channel of charisma, it's called, the channel of charisma. It's also called the busy channel, right? So this is the urge, the pressure, because this is the sacral, the life force energy, the pressure to be busy, 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 busy. And he has a lot of energy, so he can maintain activities for long periods of time with this 3420. So this is individual. This is an individual channel, and this means that you're doing your own thing, right? So this is the cross of the sleeping phoenix that's coming, is we're going to be influenced by this. We're going to be called to follow our own convictions, 3420, and not be influenced by others, not be so conditioned by others, right? So why is it called the channel of charisma? It's because when you're doing your own thing, when he has to love what he's doing. If he's really in love what he's doing, he's going to be passionate. He's going to lose himself in whatever he's doing. And this sends out a frequency wave to others, right? So it empowers others, right? Empowers others by following his own inner convictions and doing what he loves, and empowers others to do the same. So this is coming on the planet 2027 onwards. So it's not about busy for being busy's sake, right? So he's got to follow his own inner guidance to determine the activities, right, that's correct for him, right? So again, not can't be told what to do. No, be telling Russel Brand what to do. That's not healthy for him. So it's natural for him to do this. And when he does this, when he follows his own inner convictions, then it's very, very healthy for him, right? So this makes him a really, really strong individual with this channel, and not prone to be conditioned out of himself, right? Out of himself. So that's powerful, just because he's part of this new global cycle that's coming too. He's got half the channel. Half the keynotes actually. And then the 1156, this is an interesting one too. And he's got the 17 as well. There we go. So this is going from the ajna, and that's our personal mind, to the throat. It's all about getting to the throat in human design. That's how we manifest. So this is the channel of entertainment. It's called the channel of entertainment. Curiosity, and it's about the seeker. So he's a seeker. We've seen this with him. This is when I didn't really notice him before. I saw him in a movie, the Sarah Marshall one. I think I forget what it's called. I saw him in that, and I just wasn't into his kind of comedy or anything at that time. But then he started practicing Kundalini yoga, and that's my one of the tools I use is Kundalini yoga meditation. And then he started to grab my attention then, because he was bringing so much attention to Kundalini yoga meditation, but he's followed a lot of different paths, right? This is the seeking, right? Seeking. So it's really healthy for him to seek, So the seeker never finds. They just keep seeking and seeking and seeking. So he's not about achieving anything, right? So it's healthy for him to keep seeking and seeking and seeking and seeking and grabbing more and more experiences with this 3536. So it's about letting go and just finding peace in the journey itself with the 1156. So this makes him a really good storyteller, the 456, a really, really good storyteller. He's got a gift for language. And so he can take his life experiences with even with this 3536. If he didn't have that, he could take his life experiences and then he can teach people through story, right? Through story. So that would be stand-up comedy, right? Comedy is a story. You're telling a story. And this serves to teach people. And the great thing about story, and plus he's all right. Remember, he's all right. The arrows are all right, going to the right. That we'll be, as a humanity, we'll be going back to the oral tradition, right? Of this is how we used to share story. And I live on Maui, and it's all about talk story. It's about sharing our stories with one another. So with the story, when you tell a story, then the ego is like, oh, it's not about me. It's not confrontational, right? You tell the story and then it gets in later. It's able to get in past the ego and the mind. It's a great way to deal with people that are really identified with their ego and you want to have a good talk with them. Get them driving or being active in some way, like gardening or walking together, and then that ego kind of relaxes. But the ego relaxes with story when you tell a story too. So remember that this curiosity, because he has endless curiosity with this channel, that these ideas coming from the 11, they're not for you, they're for other people, right? They're for other people. 11 is the teacher of the Piscean age, right? And the 17 is the teacher of the Aquarian age, right here. So 11 is about belief, right? It's about belief. That's the teacher in the Piscean age. You must believe. And then the teacher of the Aquarian age with the 17, I'm recording this in September 24th, and then the full moon's coming up, and it's actually in the 17th, so I'll go deeper into this in my full moon video. But the 17 is the teacher of the Aquarian age, right? So this is not about belief. This is about direct experience. It's about having a direct experience. It's not about believing, right? The new age is about everything you need is inside of you, the cross of the sleeping phoenix, empowerment, and I'm being my authentic self, my individual self, not my egoic self, my true, authentic, original self, and that all the answers are inside me. And the teacher of the Aquarian age brings that out in you so that you have an experience of your own wisdom. So it's interesting that he's got both. And they rule the eyes too, the left and the right eye. Okay. Okay, so we did all the channels. And then let's look at his gates. Okay, his gates. So these are significant gates for him. And the significant gates are the 35, the 5, and the 63, and the 64. These are very important in human design. So this is his essence, right? His essence. It's in the sun position. He's a Gemini, but he's a 35.2. So what does that mean? It means that this is the gate of progress. Remember, goes back here. I talked about that channel, right? That channel back here, right? The 3536, right? So it's significant here, right? It's coming up here, 35.2, right there. So it's the gate of life. It's the gate of action, the 35. And it's about human experiences. So he would be an experience junkie. So this is, there's very little restriction on this gate, right? It's like, I want this experience. It's like, it's a pressure. I want this experience. So his talent, one of his talents comes through his experiences, gathering experiences. So he can do many things in life, but not be the master of any of them. right? Because his life is so filled with change and instability. So he gains the experience, right? He's gathering all of these experiences. That's correct for him when he enters them in a correct way through response, right? That he gains the talent to advise people through his experience. So it's very, very deeply creative, right? So this creativity is dependent upon interacting with people in life, right? So with that, right, solar plexus, with the solar plexus, with those emotions. So it's like I feel like a change. I feel like my life has to change. So if he doesn't repeat the same experiences over and over again with this 35, then he'll stay healthy. So it's like I was once an actor in Hollywood, right? I don't need to do that again. I was once a drug addict. I don't need to do that again, right? You did it. You got the experience. That's the point. So you just put that in your memory bank, right? Plus you're all right. And then you don't go for the next experience that's the same, right? So if you're operating correctly, you're not going to get caught in the Groundhog Day, like the loop of the same experience over and over again. So it's the second line. It's the line of boredom. It's the line of boredom. So change in movement you want is dependent upon getting this wave. So see that it's red. He's not aware, right? The 35 is I need that feeling. I need that feeling, but he's unaware of it, but it's there and it's going to show up for him, right? He's got this whole channel will show up for him. So where he can get stuck is like there's not going to I want change, but it's not going to move. There's no movement. So it can create a creative block for him, and it's a lack of inspiration that stops the growth, right? So what he needs to recognize, and maybe he knows this already at his age, that creativity, the muse, cannot be forced, right? That's the creative energy. It comes when it comes, right? It's that you can't control it with your willpower or your mind. So you can easily get bored if you don't accept that the energy will come. The energy will come to you, right? And because of this boredom, you can jump because the boredom is the fear of the empty space, right? There's nothing happening. There's nothing happening. So he can jump into these experiences way too soon, right? Because this emptiness doesn't make him feel good. So it's just about learning to wait, right? So they can get into trouble. He can get into trouble because they jump simply because they've been waiting to jump. So if there's a little tiny bit of energy there and bypassing your sacral response and you just jump into it, right? So this is like the people, they're at a restaurant with you and their eyes are darting around. They're looking around like, how can I get rid of this emptiness? I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. I want a new experience. I don't want to feel this emptiness. So this is the need for change with this 35, a deep need for change and a real fear of things staying the same. Like Groundhog Day would be his worst nightmare. So this gate's all about change and the fear that life is horrible, right? Life is horrible and nothing will change in my life, right? So that's the essence here, right? And again, he's teaching others about this too, right? So our greatest challenge, where our essence is where we're here to help others too. So he's helping others with this 35, with this boredom. So this is a spiritual lesson. This is the hurdle he's got to get over here, and it's the 5. And this is waiting. What a cosmic joke here, right? So it's coming off the sacral. So I want an experience. I don't want to feel this emptiness. It's like, will it come? Will it come? I fear nothing will change. And then you've got wait, right? So this is what he's learning. He's got to wait. And waiting isn't kicking back and like numbing yourself with your addictions and things like that. It's being alert in your waiting. So you look at a cat, right? They are masters of this. If you look at a cat, or especially a cat, they're relaxed. It's like divine laziness, right? They're just relaxed and all chill, but they're alert. There's something they're on, if there's something around, like a mouse or something, they're right. They're alert. So this is alert waiting. So this is about being aligned with the natural rhythms because it comes from the channel of rhythm, the 55.5. So it's being in tuned with the rhythm of life and the rhythms of nature. So all life forms on the planet have this 515, right? So he must pay attention to his life and determine his own natural rhythms, right? So it could be like, you know what, every day at around 4 o'clock, my energy dips and I want a nap, right? I want a nap. I just want a nap, have a little siesta or whatever. Well, that means it's a natural rhythm for you. And so what you do is you commit to that rhythm and you do have a nap at 4 p.m., right? Maybe for 15 minutes or half an hour or whatever, right? So it's about honoring. This is what you're learning what he's here to learn is to honor his own natural rhythm. So you make it a habit or a ritual. Rituals and habits are really good. They would be really good for him to evolve in his evolution. So it would be like, oh, I meditate every single day at this time, right? So it's just locking this in and honoring and not letting somebody pull you out of your own rhythm. So when you honor your rhythms, then your energy starts to operate correctly. Your energy works properly, and then this means you're closer to being your authentic self. So rituals are really good, and this means anything is possible, especially with the 35, 36, right? Anything is possible when your energy is working correctly. And then he's got the second line, and this is the line of peace. It's inner peace. So this is projecting out into the world when you're operating correctly, inner peace. And I feel like he's more and more becoming himself as he ages. I know he's a father now. They've got 3 kids, I think, and he's becoming more and more himself, right? So this projecting out inner peace, when they've got that fixed rhythm, when he honors that fixed rhythm. So they've got to resist. He's got to resist, like nothing's happening. I'm in my rhythm and there's nothing moving to prematurely take action, right? That's not good for their rhythm. And then you get caught up in someone else's rhythm. That's the worst thing for him. So how he can influence people with the 5 here is people get caught in his rhythm. So if it's okay as long as they don't have that 5, right? But if he's like, I eat dinner at 8 p.m., that just works for me. And then other people they usually eat at 5 because people, the clock time or their family, their conditioning, I eat at 5. Well, they'll just subsume themselves in his rhythm, right? And that will be correct for them too. Yeah. So this is all about being in the flow. He's got to learn to just be in the flow. And sometimes going through periods where nothing seems to be happening, but just to trust that. It's like the seed, right? You plant the seed, right? And then you wait, and then and then it finally blossoms. But as it in its own time, right? In its own time. So it's about waiting when that seed is gestating. So where he can suffer because he'll go through periods of busy, especially because he's got this 34-20, but then he has to honor this waiting. Like I don't have to go. Like I can wait. And there doesn't seem to be anything happening, but I have the trust and faith in the divine. Right? Yeah. So don't let the mind judge. Right? If you've got this, don't let the mind judge. Nothing's happening. I have to do. And what you're learning with this 5 is the doer is actually the divine. You're not really doing anything. Consciousness is moving through you, right? Okay. So then let's go to the other side here. The other side, which is 63, 64. And you can see these are up in the crown chakra. This is the head center, right? The head center there, and it's the 4. So this is the gate of confusion. Mercury has been over this a few times, and then and especially the 47, we've been really in this energy. So this is the gate of confusion, right? So this is unconscious to him, his unconscious side, and it will affect his health, right? With this, everything here on the red side is going to affect your health because it rules your physical body, your physical form. It's all your ancestral patterns too. Um, so this gate carries with it all of his experiences from the past, but in images and images. So he's collecting all these experiences from the past. So there's this live stream going on in his head, right when this pressure, because this is a mental pressure, and this is pressuring the mind to start releasing all these images, and they have no sequence or rhyme or reason. So it could be, I'm thinking about 2012, and now I'm thinking about 1982, and now I'm thinking about the 2020, and now I'm right. It's like all over. It's like a jumbled mess, right? That the mind's trying to make sense of it, and that's why it's called the gate of confusion. And so when you realize, right, with the mind, how you deal with this mind, this is a busy, busy, busy mind. This one right here, busy, busy, always active because it's processing and making sense. But this is its process. It's the live stream, but you don't attach to those thoughts, right? And those images that will make sense in time. That's what happens. It makes sense in time. So when you're not operating correctly as yourself, right, you're not listening to your sacral and his thing. He's not listening to his own intuition, the voice of his soul, right? He's going to be ruled by that mind, and the mind is a cruel master. The mind is a cruel master. But as soon as you really embrace your design and embrace your own inner authority, then the mind calms down. It doesn't rule you. It doesn't bother you so much. Oh, there's the mind going. I don't need to pay attention to that, right? Just because it's like this reel that's going in the background, right? So it's about making sense. The 64 is about making sense of the past. The 64-4, it's about making sense of the past in its own time, so that you can share that, because it's a collective channel gate, so that you can share that with the collective, right? So with this, if you don't, what the mind can do is create anxiety. The anxiety and stress. So, right, it's like just go into your core self, operate as yourself, commit to be yourself, and then the mind won't create this stress. There won't be this stress and anxiety, right? Um, so you don't get caught up in the mind, right? So you're going to come across either through transits, because we do transits. That's what my channel's about. I go through the transit. So the transit, and it has been in the 47, then it's going to hook up, and then he's got definition here, and then he'll have realization. Or he'll meet another person that's got this 47 maybe in his life. He's got somebody that has this 47, and then the realization comes. But he needs the 47, and if he's in front of thousands of people, he's going to be all hooked up. I doubt that he would even have anything not defined, right? Everything, this chances are that everybody will define you when you're with hundreds and hundreds of people. So this is conviction. It's the line of conviction because it's the 64-4. So I will triumph over this. It's the conviction. I know my process, and this I'll realize the truth of the past and why this happened, right? In time. So it's trusting that. So then you've got the 63.4, and that's in the unconscious sun. Okay, the unconscious sun. And this is the gate of doubt. So you got doubt and confusion here. And this comes with your body, right? Comes with the vehicle, this. So this is about looking for an answer, right? It's looking for an answer. It's always asking questions. It's very suspicious, right? Very suspicious. There's lots of doubt. It's about doubt about the future, And And then the fourth line is memory. So he has a deep, deep capacity and ability and gift to hold on to a lot of details. You can see this with his podcast. He just spews them, right? So he can be doubtful and suspicious, and he's got this memory for details. So, like, if you look back at 2020 and the pandemic stuff, he's pulling all these details forward, right? So he knows these doubts will be answered. So it's healthy for him to be doubtful, right? So where he can get into trouble is people people can say that he's obsessed, like he's obsessed about finding answers, and this can make people uncomfortable because he's fixated. He's like a dog in a bone. He's not going to let this go. I need the answer to this. I'm doubtful about this. I need the answer. So when uh, one thing to look out for this 63 is to give up too soon. You know, it's like, okay, I'm researching all this stuff, all these details, and then I feel like I got an answer, right? I got an answer, but I've got this other pile of stuff that I wanted to look at. I'm just going to dismiss that and I'll go with this. And right, and this is about projection into the future, the 63, with the details, like sharing that with the collective, but you didn't get everything, right? So you may be off. So it's like committing to, like, okay, there's something here. I'm going to write down this answer, but I'm going to continue with the rest of my research. And then it will be complete. The process will be complete. And then the great thing about this, right, with the 63 for the rest of the collective, is he can simplify all the details. He's not sharing all those. We don't have to go through the rat-tat of it and the minuscule things, and he can simplify all those details and share that with other people. That doesn't have to share the unnecessary details that he's already sorted through with his mind, right, with that. And then the other thing I want to mention, so those are the four major ones, is this one is the 18. The 18. So he would have been a nightmare for his parents, right? So this is about a gate on correcting what's been spoiled. So it's part of the channel of insatiability. He doesn't have the 58 defined here. So this is about what's vital or not. And this is a correction that has to bring a sense of value. If it doesn't have a sense of value, the correction that needs to be made, then leave it alone, right? So the fear here with the 18 is fear of authority. It's the fear of authority. So the first authorities we meet with the 18 is our parents. So it's a natural place for him to start budding, right, and challenging authority. And usually people with the 18, they are correct, right? It's not like they're pulling things out of the blue and they're not true about the parents. They're actually true because it's about integrity. It's the gift of integrity, the 18. So this is conflict, right? Conflict with the parents, conflict with men and women, conflict with the same sex as your parent, sons and fathers and mothers and daughters, right? In the family structure. So this is the vigilance and the determination to uphold and defend basic fundamental human rights. So this is collective, right? This is collective. So this is a collective correction, right? So it can go, so it's about collective. Well, if we change, it's got to be everybody in the collective. Everybody shouldn't be eating meat, right? That's a collective thing because it's bad. It's bad for everybody. We shouldn't be doing that. So with any collective gate, you can't take it too personally, right? You can't take it too personally, this 18. So you would say to Russel Brand, right? You did a really good job, right, on that podcast or on that interview. You did a really good job on that, your stand-up last night. And Russell would come back and say, no, I could have done this better and done this differently, right? I could have done this and this and this and this, because it's always looking to perfect, right? The 18 is always looking to perfect. So he's got to watch that, right? And especially with to turn it on himself or family members or loved ones, right? Because that's how he's designed. He's always going to see flaws, but it's really for the collective, and that's what he does with his podcasts, right? What needs to be corrected in our world. So this 18 is a third line. So it's the zealot, right? It's the zealot. It's called the zealot. And so this is an obsession, right? With the zealot, with the 18, because he's got it in Pluto, 3 on the conscious side, then 5 on the unconscious. So this is obsessive with correction, right? Obsessed. So this would be like cleaning the house, right? Like the cleaning the house. I'm obsessed about this. This needs to be corrected. This needs to be corrected. Everything needs to be not nice and clean, right? No matter what. But our collective would be lost without this, wouldn't we, as a humanity? Because it's about improving. It's about improvement. We'd be doing the same things the same way. We'd have dial-up internet. Remember in the mid 90s, we'd have dial-up internet. It's about improving. So he can say, this is lousy. I don't like this. I don't like this. This needs to be improved. But he doesn't have to fix it. He just has to share it with the collective, right? And then the energy comes because he doesn't have the energy. He doesn't have the 58 to energize that correction. So he can't do that. He's got to draw the people with the 58 in. Yeah, you're right, Russell. We need to fix this. We need to fix this. We need to correct this. So he's got to watch that he just becomes this constant complainer, right? A constant complainer, not coming really up with solutions, just complaining, complaining, complaining. And also to get obsessed with it's never enough. You fix one thing and it's like, oh, this could be corrected. This could be corrected. This could be corrected. To watch that. And then the 5th line, because he's got the 3 in the 5. So 5 is therapy, and that's a really interesting one. So this correction with the 5th line can be of great value, or it can make you very, very ill. So this is the root of therapy. It's the root of therapy. The therapist and the person with the problem both come from this 18. They're the same frequency, right? But the different sides of the coin. So so the strength is to recognize a problem and to accept that so he probably did this because he did 12-step, right? He recognized the problem. I have this problem with addiction, but I can't solve it on my own. That would be the 18-5, right? And it was unconscious in Pluto. So he sought help, right? He went to the recovery program, went to a therapist, right? So I love this, right? That the therapist and the person with the mental health issues are the same, right? They're just a mirror of one another. They both need each other. And I think of What About Bob, if you know that movie, right? That the therapist, Richard Dreyfuss, ended up just being as crazy as Bill Murray. Yeah. So this is about the protection, right? With the 18-5, even the protection of those fundamental human rights, so that it's possible for us to be safe as we move into the future. So we evolve safely. So it's all about finding the solution, right? So here with the 18-5, he sought help, but he's also there correcting people, right? Correcting everybody around him, right? Okay. And the other thing I wanted to share quickly is this karmic wound. So we've got 6 karmic wounds of humanity. It's what I say is like it's a slice of pie, right? That's divvied up, and so you get 1 of 6, and his is the repression. So I'm sure he's dealing with this because this is in his 4th house as well with Chiron. So this is early childhood stuff. It's very emotional, has to do with his mother too. So the repression is internalizing his suffering and he doesn't share it with other people, right? This is his wound he has to transmute. He keeps it inside of himself. and he goes deep into his own little world because he finds it challenging to share his innermost feelings, even to himself. That's repression. So he lies to himself about how he's really feeling, and he lies to other people about how he's really feeling. So he's probably called to really be emotionally honest during this time, right? Because it's coming up. This wound is coming up with Chiron and then the karmic wound. So what's the medicine here, right? Is self-honesty. So he just has to give himself permission to feel the pain. What's the emotions that are coming up, the emotional content that's coming up, because that's the real lesson. And how has it been with him since childhood? And it's only when he tries to repress it that it causes him suffering. So this would be the addictions, right? With this repressed wounding starting to surface in our life, whatever your wound is. And then the addiction is about control and sedate, right? So I just have to give it, he just has to give it room to breathe. And he doesn't even have to share it with other people, especially at the beginning, just to himself, like through journaling or meditation. Yeah. So that's just a quick reading of Russell. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And remember that Sleeping Phoenix is starting in 2027. So I have readings like this, but it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours for you to discuss how you're designed to operate through the Maya and what your gifts and talents are. So check that out. I have all that in my information box. You can book a reading with me, or you can go slow and get the recorded reading, and that gives you your variables that I talked about with the arrows and what you're supposed to eat, where you're supposed to live, the environment you should be in, and then your type, your aura type. Okay. So check that out. And then I've got my Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix webinar series 101. That's going to be over 6 hours about what this is all about and how you can prepare for this new cycle that we're entering 2027 to 2438. We've been in the cross of planning since 1615 and it ends in 2027. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the breakdown of all of that. Okay. So be sure to like and share if you've received any value from this. And I will see you in the next video. Okay. So, Namaloha, everybody. Bye-bye.